Hey everyone, welcome back to White Sparrow Living, Luke 12:6. I'm Wendy, and on this episode, we're doing some Dollar Tree DIYs for Christmas. I'm also teaming up with a sweet friend, and I've even got a fun giveaway brought to you by SUREBONDER. We're gonna be busy little sparrows, so without further ado, let's get started. For this Dollar Tree DIY, I'm using 2 trees, a tote bag, and a pretty tin tag that I found. So this tote bag is kind of thin, but I really liked it because there's absolutely no writing on it. And so I'm going to stuff it with some batting and make this the bottom of our tree. So I took my Christmas trees, put 2 of them together, and I'll just use some of the limbs to kind of wrap around each other so they're hugging. I pulled off one of the bottoms and didn't use the little slide-in stand. So I pulled my branches out and ended up using a couple of zip ties to keep them secure. And then I'm going to take all of my branches and point them downward. I think that looks a lot prettier, not so much like the Charlie Brown Christmas tree that these normally look like. And then I took a tin pot and stuffed that into my bag so that it would stand up straight, and then put a big piece of styrofoam in there, added some batting around the edges, and then popped my Christmas tree in to make an indentation into that styrofoam, and then I'll glue that in a minute. And then I cut off the straps of the bag, and I'm going to use those to tie around the base once I get this all in place. So now to give my bag some cuteness, I'm going to take a Dollar Tree pick and just cut those little stems off, and then I'll attach it in the arrangement that I think is really pretty, and I'll use a zip tie to keep those all together. And then I took another piece of string, tied it around the bottom, and then I'll wrap that around the base of my Christmas tree so that it's hanging sweetly from the side. So I first found this embossed tin tag at the Dollar Tree, and that's what inspired this whole project. There was only one of them left, so I was sure to grab it and knew exactly what I wanted to do with it. So once I got my greenery attached to my bag, then I'm going to take that tag and put it right in the middle and let it kind of tilt over a little bit. Now I was going to be done here and like the look of the natural tree because it kind of went with the tag, but the green of these Dollar Tree trees are not exactly beautiful. So I decided to snowy it up a little bit, including the pine cones and the berries, and it just made it lighter and brighter and a little prettier. And after that dries, this project is complete. I'm always so happy to team up with my sweet friend Linda at FaithChick777 at DIY by Design. And if you're stopping by from Linda's channel, welcome to White Sparrow Living. And not only is she a talented crafter, as you can see here, she is a true friend and sister in Christ. She's also been so encouraging and helpful during this challenging time with my mom. She prays with me, makes me laugh when I want to cry. She gives me guidance from her own experience, just making beauty from ashes. So I am plugging her channel, of course, but I really just wanted to take this moment to thank you, my friend, and let you know how much I love and appreciate your friendship. For this Dollar Tree DIY, I'm using 1 sign and 1 furry wreath ornament, and this is so easy, but I think it's so pretty. I just took the hanger off of the sign, and you guys know I like to pull off the paper from my signs. This is going to be the back, but I like to have it finished if I can, and this one was so easy. It doesn't always happen this way, but you'll see in a couple of these projects I got pretty good pieces that were not stuck so hard. So I'm just going to take my white chalk paint and using a chippy brush, also from Dollar Tree, I'm going to start putting on my paint, but I want some of that pretty brown to peek through. So just start light and just add to it because it's easy to add more. It's a little harder to take off. So now I want to use this beautiful wreath. I love these so much. They're so fuzzy and pretty and have that beautiful touchy goodness. But I do want to customize it with my own gingham ribbon. So I'm going to take off the one that's already on there and put this smaller check in its place. So I took the original ribbon off, made a sweet little bow with that, and then replaced my little jingle bell that's already white. So that was perfect. So the next thing I did was printed out a J and a Y because guess what? We're making a joy sign. I never get tired of these. I hope you guys don't either. So I'm going to print that out from my computer and I'm going to try and have this linked in the description box below. I'll have to get my brother on that to figure that out. But I'm just going to use the transfer method to get this on there. This just shows you don't have to have a cutting machine to do some of these projects. So I'm using a blue piece of chalk, but you can use pencil because you're transferring onto a light surface. And then once you get it all completely covered, tape it onto your board and get the right spacing and where you want it to be after you lay it out. And then go over it with a pen and those lines will show up on your surface so that you can then go back with your paint pen. This is a Sharpie paint pen that I get from Walmart. You see me use these all the time, but you can also use regular acrylic paint or even a regular Sharpie. You can do this in red or black. As you can see, we're doing blacks and whites today. So I just used a piece of painter's tape to tape my letter down, and then that way I can fold it up and down to make sure that I'm getting all of the edges completely covered. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing at the bottom and trace out the words "to the world." And the fonts that I'm using for the J and the Y is Times New Roman. And for the "to the world," I'm using Mango Salsa. That's a fun name. And I'll have those linked in the description box below as well. So once I get everything traced out and filled in, I'm going to go back and hot glue my wreath to the middle where the O should be. And then just for some additional cuteness and to cover up the holes of the sign, I use some baker's twine in black and white. You can find this at Dollar Tree, and just wrap that around the top. Tied it off in a sweet bow, and this project is complete. For this Dollar Tree DIY, I'm going to be using these 3 present ornaments in black and white and the items that you see here. And the hat box, I believe, is from Michael's, so it's a little bit bigger, but Dollar Tree does carry these round boxes, especially at Christmas time. And you might even find one with a matching design that you can just leave as is. I'm painting mine white because I'm going to be putting a message on it. So I'm using my chalk paint and painting the bottom and the lid. And then I want my gifts to be in a topsy-turvy style. So I'm using my big fat nail, and I want the seams of the gifts to be towards the back, so I just figure out which way I want them. And once I figure out the angles, I'm going to take my big fat nail that I use all the time. You could just use a Phillips head screwdriver if you don't have a big fat nail like this, and then just push it through that foam and get it to the direction and angle that you want it to be. And then I took a Dollar Tree dowel, and I'm just going to poke that in there and cut a little bit of the fabric so that it goes through. And for the top one, you don't have to go through the top, you just go, 3/4 of the way, just so that it's nice and stable. No glue needed or anything like that. So now I'm going to take some floral foam and cut it down to about the size of my hat box and just shove that in there and get it snug as a bug in a rug. And then I'm going to replace my lid. And then taking my big fat nail again, I'm going to make a hole right in the middle and into that floral foam so that I can poke my presents in. I'll put some hot glue in there just so when the dowel gets into the foam, it'll stay in place. So now I'm taking some black and white flower sack striped ribbon, that's hard to say, and I'm just going to hot glue that right around the rim of the lid of my box. And then using my Sharpie paint pen again, I'm going to handwrite Happy Birthday Jesus. And I want to show you that just doing regular block letters, you can make it look a lot fancier just by giving it that extra thickness on the left-hand side, or what would be the downstrokes. So even if you don't love your handwriting, giving it that faux calligraphy look just makes it look so much better. So then I took some greenery from some Dollar Tree Christmas picks and hot glued those onto the top of my box. And then using that same ribbon, I'm going to make a perky boat and just fold it over on top of itself, kind of in a zigzag pattern. And then in the middle, I'll make some little slits on each side and then use a chenille stem to attach that all together. And then I'll attach that to the middle of my two stems. Now I'm going to take some bells, and I just cut these off of this garland. I didn't even know it was a garland, but that's super cute. But I cut these off, and I'm going to glue 3 of them kind of staggered and push it over to the right of my greenery. Pop that in place, and this project is complete. This year I'm trying to include as many Advent wreath ideas as possible in each of my videos, and here's a couple that I just did. I had a sweet viewer send me some of the wood tone chargers from Dollar Tree, so I just gave it a dry brush effect with my white chalk paint and then put my candles on top. These are from Dollar Tree and they have the purple and pink, so you can pick those up. Also, you can use a regular plate from the Dollar Tree and just set it on top of these and then add your greenery and all of the pretties if you want. But another way you can use this is to turn your plate upside down, give it an enamelware look by using your upholstery pin from the Dollar Tree and just go along those lines of the plate. And as careful as I always try to be, I end up going out of the lines or messing up, kind of slipping with my pen. So wait until the end when you get to those mistakes and use them as opportunities to make those little chippy marks that you see in authentic enamelware. And then in my regular cursive writing, I'm just going to write the 4 words that associate with each of the candles or each of the weeks of the 4 weeks of Advent. So for the first week, we have hope, And then the second week, you can use either love or faith. I've seen it both ways. The third week is joy, and then the fourth week is peace. And then you can just decorate your candles with some ribbon or add some more greenery. But this is the super easy way to get your Advent wreath ready and out by November 27th, which is the beginning of Advent. And once you have it done, this project is complete. For this Dollar Tree DIY, I'm using a wooden ornament plaque, a microfiber cloth, and a tin strip that I pulled off of a Dollar Tree sign in my mystery box challenge video from last week. And can you say it with me? It's not hoarding if you use it. So I knew I was going to use it somewhere, and this was the perfect project for that. So I just pulled it off of the sign, and then I'm going to also take off the tin top of the ornament, and I'm using my Cricut spatula to just get that off of there. And then this was another one of those plaques where the paper wasn't on there all that great, so it was pretty easy to pull that off. If your paper doesn't come off this easily, you can just sand it off to get it all completely gone. So now I'm going to take some Mod Podge and I'm just going to brush it on there with my sponge brush. And you want to make sure to get to the very edges of your ornament so that none of it comes up, and be pretty generous with the Mod Podge. And we're putting our microfiber cloth on top of that and flattening it out to make sure that there's no wrinkles or bumps. And then I'm going to use my scissors to cut around the entire ornament. So now I'm going to take some acetone and get it on a paper towel and rub the letters off of that tin strip. And you want to definitely be careful with your nails because it'll take that nail polish off as well. And then I'm going to take some Waverly Wax in Antique, some truffle, and some hazelnut. Mix that all together and give my plaques, both the top of the ornament and the long strip, a rusty weathered look so that it looks nice and aged. And you can see I'm just pouncing it on there with my paintbrush. And then I'm going to go back once I get this completely covered and tap on some of that darker color to give it more dimension. So once that's completely dry, I'm going to take my white paint pen and I'm going to write "A Savior is Born." And then using my faux calligraphy again, I'm going to do the downstrokes a little bit thicker than the rest of the writing. And I checked to see that there was an even amount of metal on each side from where my ornament is going to be so that I can wrap those ends around the sides of my ornaments. That'll make sense in a second. So I thought I was going to have to hot glue this down, but I didn't have to once I wrapped it around the edges. And you can see here, I'm just doing it by hand. It was pretty thick metal, but it was easy to get that around without using any tools. And then I am going to hot glue the top of my ornament back on. So I was super excited to be invited to help promote the SUREBONDER Grace Monroe glue skillet. I have been wanting one of these forever, and not only did I get the skillet, I got this pretty pink silicone mat. It has an embossed ruler along the sides, which is super convenient. And the skillet itself is just so adorable, and you have the power button and heat setting dial. So you just plug her in, turn it on, and I set mine to medium heat, and then just add your skillet glue. And they look like little sliced up glue sticks. I got a lot of them on my surface here, but I only put about 1/3 of the bag in there, and you'll see this is going to last a long, long time. I can already tell. So I'm going to take some pieces off of a Dollar Tree Christmas stem and cut them down to the length that I want. And then I just dip the tip into my glue skillet and put it directly onto my ornament above that metal band. So this is a must-have if you're making a wreath, but this was my very first time using a skillet, so I wanted to take baby steps and tackle an easy project so I could get used to it first. But here's what got me super excited. There were no strings whatsoever, not even a little bit. Even when I put my glue sticks in the freezer, I'm always picking out strings for my projects. But look at this, you guys. There's nothing. So I dipped my pine cones in there and placed it on the greenery. It's just dip in place, dip in place. And I was even able to take a piece off and move it before it completely dried. So not only am I super excited about my set, I have a fun giveaway that you guys are all invited to join in. I'm going to be giving away one of these SUREBONDER Monroe Home skillets for one of you guys. They will ship it directly to you. So make sure you leave a comment down below so that you can be entered for the drawing. That's all you have to do, just so I can put it on that little spinny thing and it'll pick a random name. I'm super excited about this giveaway. Anyway, I made a sweet little bow for the middle, and you don't want to dip your bow. Well, I guess you could, but the skillet comes with 2 sticks that you can dip and add your glue that way. You could also stir your glue if you need to. And then I wanted to add a jingle bell, and it was pretty as a shiny silver bell, but I decided to give it a rusty look too by putting it on a skewer and adding some Mod Podge and some French linen chalk paint, and then tapping in some cinnamon here and there. And not only is this a super pretty finish, it smells so good. And then once it's dry, I popped my bell into my skillet and plopped it right into my project. Filled in some blank spots with more greenery, got my tails secured, and then tied a small piece of ribbon to the top. And this project is complete. So while you guys are watching these finishing touches, I want to again thank SUREBONDER for their sweet giveaway, and to Linda, who is such a gift to me. So please make sure to go check out her video and give her some well-deserved love. I hope you enjoyed these projects, because I feel like this is one of the only ways that I can give back to all of you who continue with your fervent prayers for my mom and our whole family during this dark season. Which, as I say that, is pretty ironic because the power has been out all night in our area. So I'm working by candlelight, and it's actually very serene. So I guess you could say you all are my candles. Remember the true reason for this season. I hope everyone has a blessed day, and remember to always be the light. Bye!